What up, everybody? It's Too Much Fantasy Football. It's Brian, it's Brennen, and we're diving into the AFC South. So we're bringing a little energy because it's going to fall off pretty quick with these teams, right?
Oh, yeah. We're not going to be biased at all today.
Yeah, a couple of Colts fans stop talking about our division. We'll be straight up with the Colts folks. But yeah, once we get to the Titans, if we start talking a little bad, that's not our fault. It's built into us, you know?
Yeah.
Before we get digging into that, we do have a bit of news. We've got a channel here. Like, subscribe. That's the news, folks. You listen to the podcast, do the same thing. No, I'm kidding. We have actual news. Brennan, throw it at the people. What do we got?
So over the weekend, the Seahawks released Noah Fant. So for that, it looks like they spent the second round capital on Arroyo. They fully guaranteed his contract, which obviously a lot of second round picks are all guaranteed now. So I'm not really expecting too much out of this. Like, it's Arroyo and Barner. I think you can pick it. I think Barner's more of a blocking tight end, if I had to guess. And Arroyo's going to get runs with the offense, but I wouldn't really say they're fantasy relevant right now as it speaks.
Not draft relevant anyway. As far as once we get into the season, Arroyo gets established, gets it figured out. He has an injury history, but he's got some talent. So I think we might be talking to him for around weeks 4 to 6, somewhere in there for some streaming categories. But I'm excited to see what they utilize him. Because I mean, if Cup
I think
is
he's going to
nothing,
be true. Cup is nothing. Obviously, he's on the back of the 30, but I think for me, it's more so like, will he be fantasy relevant when the time actually matters? Like, obviously, you've punted on tight end. You can pick him up. Maybe him and Sam Darnold build, some sort of portfolio together, and they run the table during the playoffs. But again, he's so far behind. He's like tight end 32 for me. I think legitimately, I think tight end 32.
yeah, he'll probably get somewhere in the early to mid 20s for me, just because I do think he has the talent. That's usually what I look for my late tight ends, that freak athleticism. And he can go down deep. Cam Ward was his college quarterback. They had some great connections, and Sam Darnold threw a lot of deep balls last year. So if that offensive line can hold him up, I think we might get, a few touchdowns here and there, just a few fantasy-worthy days. Maybe it's a DFS guy we're really looking at.
Yeah, I think it's more. Yeah, definitely for best ball purposes, I would draft Arroyo as like a Sam Darnold. Like that is what I call my shit stats. My shit stack starts. You punted on it. All right, cool. Like, because last year it was like Bo Nix, Marvin Mims, which really didn't really pan out all too well. I mean, Bo Nix obviously would definitely help, but like Marvin Mims for that factor. But who knows? They could just be relevant for you during those playoff stretches for best ball.
Some of your best ball lineups kind of took, I wouldn't say a hit, but we might see some movement in ADP. Your boy Chris Godwin, we had a little bit of news pop up with him too.
Yeah, so he's going to miss the start of training camp to rehab the ankle, which, I mean, this has been, they've said that they will not be starting so far. They've been very, very cautious with him. I mean, but it sounds like the words they're saying, though, leads me that he's trending to starting in week 1. For me, though, I'm a little scared. I think he's going to be one of those guys to be a slow starting. This gives a ton of room for Ibuka, Mike Evans, McMillan to, kind of bolster themselves into, running with the ones and building more rapport with Baker. Obviously, Baker has a ton of rapport with Chris Godwin. For best ball, I'm in on Chris Godwin. I don't know about redraft, though. I'm starting to lean a little bit leery of him.
Where he's going in redraft drafts right now, there's a bunch of guys I like. So I may not be off of Chris Godwin, but I'm not going to overdo it with the exposure. If I feel like I need to pivot, I have plenty of pivot options. So I guess that's kind of where I'm sitting with him.
Yeah, I'm right there with you in that sense. I think Jalen McMillan will be remaining in that field, and like the 2 wide receiver sets of Godwin is still on a limited snap count early. When all 4 of these wide receivers are healthy, it could be a little bit more of a mess too. So that's where I'm kind of like, I think obviously Baker gets like the nod more for me if I want to draft one of these guys. Like, I do like Mike Evans where he goes, because obviously I think he's just kind of solidified his role. He's not going to go anywhere. It's the guys after that. It's like, I love McMillan, and then obviously Ibuka kind of muddied that for me. So I'm just, after Mike Evans, I'm kind of just I'm a little bit out in this wide receiver sets.
For sure. But like you said, I love the Baker call. No matter what, there's going to be enough wide receivers out there. This offense should be pretty potent. So Baker, as far as, I don't like his price, but I do like him for fantasy.
Yeah, I also think he's like a couple rounds too early for me. I think you're drafting to add his ceiling for me, in my opinion.
Same. You're building in a little bit of regression from him as far as just the offensive standpoint. So just something to keep an eye on, monitor. And then
Mhm.
finally, I guess we're going to talk about his team here in a little bit, or what was his team. But Will Levis, season-ending surgery. Looks like he's going to be packing it up, getting ready for 2026 when the Titans inevitably cut him or trade him.
Yeah, so from my understanding is that his agent and the team were kind of in this like conundrum of like, well, if they don't draft a quarterback in the first round, he's going to try to rehab it and play through it. Obviously, because he'll be the starting quarterback. Once the word came out, they're taking him. Then it's like, joke's on you. My shoulder hurts. I'm done for the year. Pay me my money. I think now Cam Ward obviously is going to be the future franchise for them. I mean, I think this is it for good old Mayo boy.
Yeah, I think Will Levis now turns into one of those guys we talk about in 2030. Oh my gosh, do you remember Will Levis? Yeah, the mayonnaise banana man. Yeah, that guy. I
That
think that's
four
kind of what.
touchdown game against Atlanta to start his career, that was nuts.
God, got too hyped for that.
Dude, Titans fans were just like, he's our future quarterback. And then well, he showed his true colors.
They were not the colors the Titans were hoping for.
No.
Oh no. Well, Titans, get ready. We're going to be talking about you in a few, but we have to begin with the top of this division. So AFC South. Let's dive in. The first team in this division, it was the Houston Texans. Finished last year at 10-7, 19th in points per game, 14th in points allowed. They have they got a decently difficult schedule. It's not the worst in the world. Retained D'Amico Ryans, Matt Burke, the DC came back, and then Nick Cauley coming from the Shanahan system there to replace the OC. Dude, that OC from 2024, we thought he was going to take a head coaching job. He came back last year and just nothing. So this team, we're hoping to get it, a little revitalized a bit.
Yeah, they had a tendency to always run the ball on like second and long, like every single time, and it just didn't really work out for them. Who'd have thought after doing like a few games they kind of would change their structure, the way they do things, but nope, they were very much consistent with doing the same things over and over again. It just did not work out.
Especially with
Last
one of,
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, especially with one of the worst offensive lines in football. It just like continued to get bad last year. They traded away Laramie Tunsil, the only really good player they had. Kenyon Green got traded. Shaq Mason got traded. So this is a completely different offensive line they have to work with as well.
Yes, Laramie Tunsil led the league in, I believe, false starts, right, or holdings. Was it
Yeah,
which one of the? It was
I
one
think
of
it
the
was false
other.
start. Yeah,
Yeah, so obviously he was a hindering to them. Obviously went to the Commanders. This O line is still going to be bad. I am still
oh
very
yeah.
worried for Nico Collins and this run game and the passing game. I think Stroud's an amazing quarterback. I think he's going to be very smart with what he does and getting the ball out quickly. I think there's a good chance that he could lead the league in being sacked again. I think if he wasn't already, I think it was Joe Burrow was the one,
No,
or
it
no,
was
Caleb.
Caleb
Caleb, sorry.
Williams, 68
Yeah,
sacks last year.
yeah. I think there's a good chance that Stroud could be up there again in top five, being sacked again. Because for what I know, they kind of fixed it a little bit, but it wasn't like their first two picks were wide receivers, which
Yeah.
that's great for fantasy. It sucks though if CJ Stroud's not going to be out there.
I mean, it's kind of a reminiscent of what 7-8 years ago when they took Deshaun Watson, folks. It's a lot of a bad look on Deshaun Watson over the last few years, but Houston, he was great. I think we got 3 straight top 6 finishes, and he also was the league leader in sacks over those years. They just will not address this offensive line. Granted, they traded for Tunsil back then, so he's been kind of a linchpin of that offense for a while, and they made some changes. At least they didn't linger in those same 5 guys. So it's a completely different offensive line. Could take some time to kind of get back up there, but at least there's some promise of hope. Maybe they're like bottom 20 instead of bottom 32.
Yeah, I mean, luckily for them, getting a guy from the Shanahan trees, in my opinion, always one of the better routes to go. He's obviously, I would say, most of the Shanahan lineage has been successful when it comes to calling plays. So, of that factor, I'm all for it. But I mean, this is a little bit also. It's the team's kind of muddied. I would say besides Joe Mixon, I think he's the clear-cut back, and Nico Collins is the wide receiver one. It gets a little bit muddy because Jaden Higgins is now the wide receiver two, but they also took in the third round his teammate from Iowa State, Jalen Noel, and they brought in Christian Kirk. So, like, it's just really, really muddy in where you want to go. Obviously, I'm all in on Nico. He's obviously a first-round grade for fantasy. I like Joe Mixon. After that, though, it just gets a little bit leery for me.
Same. So within this running back room, yeah, Joe Mixon got retained. He's still there. Nick Chubb was signed just a month or so ago, so he will be on this team. And then Woody Marks, a rookie that they actually use future draft capital to move up to grab him in the third. Great pass catching back. I think he complements these two really well. I'm not touching Joe Mixon this year. I really haven't I don't even know if I've sniffed his direction in best ball this year, just as far as that offensive line being bad. Mixon's coming off an injury last year. He's had some sort of foot ankle issue this summer, so a lot of that is making me really afraid to draft him.
He goes around guys that are a little more appealing. Like I think the only guy that you can make the argument that you want ahead of is Alvin Kamara, but like he goes near like Kenneth Walker, Chuba Hubbard. Again, I like Kenneth Walker situation a little better, and I also like Chuba's situation just a little bit better. So I get it, and obviously Mixon's he hasn't been the model of health, but when he's out there, man, he's great. So it's kind of like two-sided coin there.
And James Conner goes a little bit after him too. I think I'd be more okay with Conner than I would with Joe Mixon. If you still want to grab him back.
I agree with that. I can definitely make that case. He was RB13 last year. So, again, he's a perfect RB2 candidate, though. I think we both can't, dismiss that.
For sure.
You're not upset if he's your RB2.
No, because that usually means the rest of your team around him is going to be pretty well. So he just needs to be kind of consistent. He was with touchdowns. This team should be able to move the ball a lot better with the additions of Nico Collins, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, and then you've got Christian Kirk, who came over in a trade from Jacksonville, who I thought I was going to be all in on Christian Kirk coming into this year until the draft hit.
Yeah, then they took not one but two guys back to back, and they actually invested a decent amount of draft capital into them.
So CJ Stroud's going about QB 15, 143 overall. He's going to be looked at if you're taking just your second quarterback. Maybe you're going a couple quarterbacks late, streaming effort. But I don't mind CJ Stroud. He's got a decent start to the season.
What's his schedule look like?
I don't
have it right here. It's the Rams, Tampa, Jacksonville, Tennessee, and then Baltimore. And then they have a bye. It's kind of rough.
Those are some bad secondaries, though. The Rams, it's a horrendous secondary. Jacksonville?
Yes. I mean, true. We just got to see what Travis Hunter is in the Tennessee new building. But I guess before week 5, it's actually not terrible. So I guess I could see that for you. But he's a perfect super flex quarterback for me, someone I want as my QB2. Again, I think he's going to go undrafted in most 12-man QBs. Well, drafted. I don't know why you draft a second quarterback. But I definitely think he's going to be a really, really good streamer.
Yeah, the hard thing with those three teams, they've got suspect secondaries, but their front seven can get after him. So if the offensive line can't protect him, he's not going to be doing much with a deep ball anyway.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. For Nico Collins, right? He had the amazing stretch until he pulled the hammy last year. He was looking like, top 5 wide receiver. He's going as wide receiver 7. ADP's around, pick 15, just anywhere from, best ball, he's going as like the 11th overall, but an ADP for redraft, he's going right around like early to mid second round. Where are you at with Nico?
I'm okay with it. I've got a pretty good touch on him this year. Just it's Neighbors, it's Collins, BTJ, AJ Brown. I feel like most of those guys are kind of can't miss players. So depending on what kind of build you're going for, if you want that big behemoth of a guy that was absolutely crushing, the yards should continue to come to him. I love the pick. Absolutely love it.
And then they drafted his twin, Jaden Higgins. It's kind of crazy because I'm looking at it. Jaden Higgins is 6'4", 215, and Nico Collins is 6'4", 222. So just having two Nico Collins out there is going to be very impressive to watch. I'm not going to lie. I'm not sure where I'm at with Nico or with Jaden Higgins, though. I want to see it first. That's where I'm at with him.
I do too. So I guess I'm okay with where he's going in drafts. He's going in that lump of Josh Downs, Egbuka, Rashid Shaheed, Trey Harris. So a lot of question marks with it, a lot of upside. I guess I just really like the fact that, they run a fullback in this offense, or they're going to. So that's one, probably 2 wide receiver sets. He should be the guy opposite Nico Collins for a good portion of it. You've got Noel and Christian Kirk who slide into the slot. But if you're saying this guy's going to be out there for the majority of snaps and it's CJ Stroud, they should have to throw the ball a lot. I really like it.
Okay. Are you going to take Nick Chubb as like a late sleeper and kind of like this hopes of, maybe Joe Mixon isn't getting all the work?
Redraft, it's going to be harder. If I go for some sort of like a zero RB build and I'm just shooting, shots at running backs deep, I could see where you could go for it. But the age, the surgeries, just where you are with him, the lack of pass catching upside, Joe Mixon being there, I just don't know if he's might be a roster clogger for you.
Okay.
Are you taking him?
No, I take him a lot in best ball just because where his ADP is. I'm just like, I think he'd be the clear cut too if Mixon goes down. I like his. Obviously, I think Nick Chubb is still an amazing running back. I think he's proven he can come back from major injuries and not, still be an amazing runner. So,
And then Woody Marks, he's not necessarily getting drafted, but I mean, I'm in a couple of leagues where we are drafting through round 20 just because there's no waivers or stuff like that. So he's definitely one of those easy clicks for me. He's got the draft capital added, and he is, I believe, the best pass catcher out of that running back room.
I do like Woody Marks. I think he's definitely going to be involved more than people realize for this team.
Tight ends, Cade Stover, we saw slight flashes. He played with CJ Stroud. Dalton Schultz, he's older than, I can't even think of anything older than him. So, like, I'm just kind of veering away from this tight end room.
Yeah, he doesn't really. Dalton Schultz doesn't really move the needle for me. Like his best game last year was it was week 13, which was 7 targets, 5 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown. After that, it's just 3 catches for 21 yards, 4 catches for 27 yards. He's really not fantasy relevant at all. Know what I want. Cade Stover, I think they took him the 2nd round last year.
I believe he was 2nd round, yeah.
And again, his best game was 3 catches, 26 yards, and a touchdown in week 12, and he missed some time. So I don't think CJ Stroud is one. Aaron Rodgers is not a guy who threw to his tight ends, and CJ Stroud could definitely be that person. So it's just he looks to the outside.
Yeah, Stover, he's just more of a fun dynasty play, I guess, if you're in that. Just is there a chance that he connects with his old college quarterback? But most likely, now that this wide receiver room's loaded, I don't know if he gets an opportunity.
I agree.
Over under is 9.5 for this Houston Texans team. They just hit it over last year with 10. Where do you have them?
I think they go 4-2 in this division. I'm looking at the end of their run here. So they have Buffalo, Indy, at KC, Arizona, Raiders, at Los Angeles Chargers, and then they end it with us again. It's a pretty tough run, but I'm going to lean towards their over. It's tough not to. I think they're going to win this division, unfortunately.
Yeah, this defense is pretty solid. They've got depth all across the board at all 3 levels. I think D'Amico Ryan's a solid head coach. I'm hoping this offense can take a step forward, so I'm going to take the over as well.
Yeah.
Next up, the best team in the division, no bias. It's the Indianapolis Colts we're going to talk about, and we're going to try and keep this to a minimum, but there's a lot to be said potentially about this team. This is an 8-9 team. Vegas has them at 7.5 this year. Shane Steichen, Jim Bob Cooter, all returning from last year, and they brought in the Bengals DC.
So, Lou Romero, or I just butchered his name, but yes.
Yeah. If you know it, go ahead. Be proud. You say it, but we can't. Yeah, coming over. Essentially, it's funny. What he was known best for, he's the Chief killer. He takes down the Kansas City Chiefs. Colts have no problem with that. I think we've got one of the best records against the Chiefs over the last 10 years, so it's kind of funny how that lines up. But
we're the only team that he has a losing record against, by the way. That's weird. That's the most random stat I can give you. He's 1-2 against us. Not saying Patrick Mahomes isn't really good, just saying he's just the one team he can't have a winning record against.
And folks, we're not proud of that. With those 2 wins, they would have helped us later on in the draft those years that we beat him. I would have loved to lose against Pat.
And one of those games was they would have won it had Chris Jones not said something really egregious to Matt Ryan, which basically caused them to have a 15-yard penalty, and then we just go and score and win with no time left.
Was the Jeff Saturday game, was his only win against the Chiefs?
No, it was against the Raiders.
Raiders, okay.
Yeah.
God, that makes it even worse. This team, as far as moves, not a whole lot happened to the offense outside of drafting Tyler Warren in round 1. Riley Leonard got added way deep. They added a couple of defensive pieces that should help the secondary out quite a bit in free agency. But overall, this team's pretty similar with what we're looking at as far as the offensive pieces. Oh, I'm sorry. Daniel Jones got added. Daniel Jones gets added to this quarterback conversation. So we'll start off with Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones. Both of their ADPs are QB 25 plus.
Yeah. So We have the two most inaccurate quarterbacks on the same roster, which is just great. I will say, if Richardson wins the battle, which I think you and I both are leaning towards, because it's Ballard and Steichen are their foot plan is all on him, so they really need him to work out and succeed. I think his ADP will shift a little bit more. I'd rather have him than Geno Smith. The upside is just, when
Yeah.
Richardson can play a full game, he can be a top 5 fantasy quarterback. Not saying he's going to be a really, really good quarterback. I'm just saying for fantasy, he's really good because he uses his legs, and he also can air the ball 60 yards on a dime, but can't hit the running back in a 5-yard route. So it's a little weird. So I think when that happens, his ADP will move a little bit more. Jonathan Taylor is – I would say Jonathan Taylor is a little bit more on a discount right now. I know he wasn't that great, but at the end of the year, holy crap, that run was impressive for playoff purposes. 218 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then 125 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then obviously the Denver game where he dropped the touchdown, but it was 22 yards, 22 attempts for 107 yards.
Hey, he was looking out for us on that one. He didn't want us to get drafted in the 20s.
Yeah, no kidding.
Richardson and Daniels, though, as long as they are sub quarterback 24, I'm going to be taking a shot. It's hard not to. These are the players that you aim for late in drafts that give you that upside as far as quarterback. So I'm okay with either one of them as my second quarterback, just to have that possibility. As far as Jonathan Taylor, though, I really like him. I like where he's going. He may be less sexy because he is associated with the Colts, but overall, yeah, like you said, it was an elite run. This GM, this head coach, they are on the hot seat. They have to win. Winning's going to be going through the guy you paid a lot of money to. So Jonathan Taylor should continue to touch the rock quite a bit. He's going up right above Bucky. I like him. I like him over Bucky Irving 100%.
Yeah, I typically tend to fade Colts players. I just don't think we do well. But like for him, purposely, Jonathan Taylor, I think, has been our best running back since Edge. I truly believe, I like him over Josh Jacobs. I like him over Bucky. I like him over Chase Brown. I think
Kyron.
I'd be very, very, Kyron. I'd be very, very comfortable with him being my RB1 and then drafting a couple other wide receivers elsewhere, then building my roster that way.
Yeah, the 7 guys that go above him, I feel, are very entrenched in their own tier. And then Jonathan Taylor almost sits in his own tier for me, just above those other guys. So he's not quite in that elite with Genty, Etienne, CMC, Henry, all those guys, but just below that.
He's done it, though. That's a crazy thing. He was taken as the first overall pick, I think, 2-3 years ago. So it is a possibility to him be finishing as the RB1 this year.
And then in the draft, I picked up DJ Giddens out of K-State. Nice, elusive back. So, Jonathan Taylor, we've seen him miss times. Giddens, I think, has a decent chance of being fantasy relevant if that happens.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this wide receiver room. We have B-level talent out the wazoo. You got Josh Downs, probably the most talented. Michael Pittman, the highest paid, and the leader of the room. Alec Pierce is the deep streaker, and then A.D. Mitchell just is the utility belt. It just comes out with a little bit of everything. How are we going about this with ADPs? Just wide receiver 57 for Downs, 48 for Pittman.
Yeah, it's really interesting because Pittman played with a broken back last year and finished as wide receiver 43. Obviously, the rapport was not there with Flacco, even with Richardson. The rapport seemed to be elsewhere. Obviously, Alec Pierce had all those crazy games. Josh Downs, I think, is our best pure wide receiver as a route runner. I actually like Pittman where he's going. I think you're getting him at a discount. Just prior to that, this 2023 season, he was really, really spectacular. 2022, he's always been very good for us. He's just, obviously, it just comes down to the quarterback play. I think you're getting him at a discount.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at it as the dartboard position of ADP. Because you may like where he's going, but I know you're not taking him because Jaden Reed and Ricky Pearsall are going just a few wide receivers ahead of him. But also, we've talked about Darnell Mooney having a possibility of an upside. Jaden Higgins, we just got done talking about. Egbuka has potential. Trey Harris goes a little bit behind that, but he's just you're throwing shots at all these players, and you're probably going to get one of all of them, and it's most likely won't be consistent, but there will be points going to Josh Downs and Michael Pittman.
Mm-hmm. I'm right there with you on that.
Alec Pierce, folks, if you remember the flash of it last year, we're not drafting him. We're not drafting that.
He is a perfect best ball guy to draft. He's just has one of those weeks where he'll have like 80 yards and a touchdown on like 3 catches, but then the rest is just like maybe a catch for 11 yards. He's not someone I'm targeting for redraft. Best ball, I'm all in on him because he's going super late, and I know he can have spike weeks.
Same with AD Mitchell. I've got him as my last pick in several rounds just to kind of tie him in with Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson. But
Yeah,
for
perfect shit
redraft,
stacks.
yeah, shit stacks, folks.
Sorry, folks, that's what I call him.
You got a better name for us? Drop it in the comments.
Yes,
We'll
it
consider.
truly is what it is. It's just a shit stack. You're really hoping it pans out.
And then finally, we talked about the Tyler Warren, what should have been Brock Bowers falling to the Colts 2 years ago. Instead, it is Tyler Warren we get this year. Second tight end to go in the draft. But he is going, he's going as tight end 12, depending on your platform you're looking at here. Going after Tucker Kraft, who is loved on this podcast this year. Johnny Smith, Evan Ingram, but just before Dalton Kincaid, Colston Loveland. So he's not quite a mid tight end. He's out of that range. If you're playing on ESPN, he's going at the back end of round 11. So I'm back in on tight ends at this point. We taking a swing?
I tried not to be biased about him, but like he was my favorite tight end out of this group of him and Loveland and like Arroyo and Mason Taylor. I think when you watch his tape, it's not the fact that he can run routes really well. It's they can utilize him in different ways, like the tush push.
Yeah.
I could definitely see him being on the goal line and then being like, put Tyler Warren back there as the QB and snap it to him. Like if you watch his tape at Penn State, he's also he's got rushing upside. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
As that weird as it sounds, like I think he's a perfect jackknife tight end and he's going to be on the field a lot. I don't see a world where he's not on the field at least for 85% of the snaps.
Yeah, I think a little bit more receiving value, but Taysom Hill without all the throwing. He will most likely take snaps out wide at tight end from the running back position, from the quarterback position, especially with the team that has so many question marks at it. So Tyler Warren, they invested quite a bit. I think Shane Steichen's a pretty creative offensive mind, so I'm very excited to see what they do, which makes him a nice dart throw.
Yeah, great offensive play caller. I don't know about a head coach, and this is his last year, so I think he's truly feeling the pressure right now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. This team secondary's not great. Like I said, they fixed it in the in free agency. Offensive line right now, I believe preseason rankings 7th is what I'm seeing as far as offensive line, despite losing a center and a guard. Patched it up pretty well. So if that happens, should only give more opportunities for these quarterbacks to actually excel.
Yeah, I think we don't. That's the one thing we don't lack in is an offensive line and the depth. We actually have a pretty good depth. So
depth might be better than the start. Not actually the starters, but like you're grading out starting line versus depth line. Our depth might be better.
Yeah, no kidding.
So we've got 7.5 is what their projected win total is. Where do you have this team finishing?
I want it to be under so damn bad. I really want it to be under just so. Like I've said to people before, like winning anywhere from 7 to 9 wins just puts you in just like NFL purgatory. You're not going to be good enough to get a good draft pick, but you're also not bad enough to you might be fighting for a playoff. I think our record will be 8-1. As weird that sounds, like we're going to have some weird tie, but no, like 8-9 is what I expect this team to be. It's dumb and I hate it.
We would be an 8-1 team. Just
we really would be.
It's. I think this is a great line. I see us at right around 7-8 wins, so I'm going to take the over.
Yep.
Gross. To Jacksonville we go. A little No, I promised I wouldn't do it again.
Don't do it.
Jacksonville Jaguars 4-13 last year. Over under this year is 7.5. They've got the 6th easiest schedule. If you followed the drama at the head coach hiring, they did get Liam Cohen from the Buccaneers, the OC. The one that took Baker to just another unreal season. We've got a new OC, new DC, so complete overhaul. The team also traded up to the number 2 pick to take Travis Hunter, the two-way player, the wide receiver cornerback. Bashaw Tootin got taken early in the 4th round, and then Diami Brown comes in as wide receiver.
This team is the definition of a wild card because it starts at Trevor Lawrence. We're at the point, like, do you believe in Trevor Lawrence? Like, that's my question to you, Brian.
Yes. Wait, I guess where I think that he could be a top. I think he has the ability to be a top 10 quarterback. Yes.
Okay.
I
I
don't
think
think he's
so
there
too.
yet.
I think Liam Cohen was the perfect hire for this team. I truly think Trevor Lawrence is at worst, like even if he's playing bad and Liam Cohen being a great play caller, a top 15 quarterback, and that's all you really need to do to be successful in this league. They now, Brian Thomas Jr. Could you argue that he was the best receiver last year from the
Yeah,
rookie class?
absolutely. I
Yeah,
think I would say that. Absolutely.
yeah,
Actually, I think I'd go him, Neighbors, Lad.
yeah. And now they pair him with the guy whose energy never drops below 90, like out of 100. Like Travis Hunter just doesn't get tired. Like like everyone is just like saying like, oh, like it's different in the NFL. Like but it's his cardio is what it comes down to. I don't think it's attributes being a little bit smaller. That's fine, but it comes down to his cardio. Is what everyone keeps talking about. Trevor Lawrence has said, let's just, when he's on the DB side, let's gang up on him. And then he goes and plays wide receiver. I just watched the interview with him on the Part of My Take, and he said it's impressive how he does not get tired. So, I mean, maybe he's hyping his guy up, but I also think there's some truth behind it.
Yeah, I think just watching the fact that not only is he going to make Brian Thomas Jr. better by being opposite him on the field, he's going to make him better by competing against him when they're going at it in practice.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm so excited to see what they can do with Travis Hunter, Brian Thomas Jr. I think, like you said, Liam Cohen coming to Trevor Lawrence is exactly what they needed. When they brought in Peterson 3 years ago, it was great for the organization. They needed a culture change after what's his name from Ohio State.
Uh,
Yep,
why am I drawing a blank on it?
Urban Meyer.
Starts with an M. Urban Meyer.
Urban
Yes.
Meyer, yeah. So
Yeah.
he was a huge fix for that, but it was ultimately after year one, I was like, this isn't what he needs to resurrect his career, and we had to sit through 2 more seasons of it. So I'm really excited. QB 25, I'm all about that, especially as my second quarterback. So give me some of that action. I do like both of these wide receivers. Travis Hunter, though, are you okay with his price point going as wide receiver 27?
He's going right near. I think it's near Tet McMillan.
Yeah,
So I'd rather have Tet McMillan.
same.
Where he's going. There's other guys I kind of like more, but I'm not upset with it. For me, Trevor Lawrence's QB 25 is outrageous. I definitely think if I had to place an over on a bet, I'm hitting that for sure. I think he finished. If he plays the full year, I'm for sure thinking he finishes somewhere in between QB 14 to 20 at worst. So I'm in on that. I'm in on the Brian Thomas ADP. I guess the biggest question comes down to is the running back room.
Oh, yeah. We have to talk about this? I thought we could just skip right over it.
No. We talked about it.
Yeah, Travis Etienne returning for his final year on his deal. Like I said, Bashal Tootin, the fastest running back at the combine coming out of Virginia Tech. And then Tank Bigsby. We saw some work from he was
This is the backfield where I've been taking a lot of Travis Etienne. I'll be honest with you. I've been taking a lot of Travis Etienne. I think he's week one. He's going to roll out there and be the starting running back. Last year was awful, but it was awful for everybody not named Brian Thomas Jr., if we're being honest. Yeah. So I think with the new play caller, Liam Cohen, who's obviously made Bucky Irving who he was, I'm kind of in on the price point. He's one of those where if you punted on running back, you went 0 RB. I'm targeting Travis Etienne.
I love the take. He's going right around Jalen Warren. I'd rather have Etienne. Najee Harris. I'd rather have Etienne. Ramondre. Rather have Etienne. So he's got a question mark, but he's in a group of question mark guys that are completely different questions than him. And I think I agree with you there. If anything, he may be the workhorse for like 4 weeks until we get Tootin up to speed, Bigsby up to speed. We could see Etienne traded. I mean, the Cowboys aren't exactly. I thought he was going to get traded there last year. They still could be looking for a running back. They've been making moves, so I have no idea. But as far as the draft, they're all in. As far as the draft price though, going there in the 10th round, into the 10th in ESPN leagues, you don't need him. He's a bench player, and he might actually give you great work because this offense could be top 5 in the league, top 8 in the league with Liam Cohen.
Yeah, so that's why, like, if you look at it just like from a horizon viewpoint, right? Like, what he did last year with the Bucks, again, he was the one guy calling all the plays, and he made sure that he realized, because obviously, right when it started, Rashad White was the starting running back. But we all saw Bucky have an amazing game right beside him, and it just slowly transitioned where I'm not worried. I think Liam Cohen, no matter what, will have the best guy out there. He's not going to drag his feet and having like, oh, well, we'll still put Etienne out there for a little bit. No, he's going to put the best guy out there no matter what. So at the end of the day, we will find out who the best guy is. I'm going to gamble on Etienne. We saw him be RB3. What was it? 2000? Yeah, 2003. He was RB3. So like, you're telling me that like he somehow went from RB3 to RB36. Like, what was the difference maker?
Probably the fact that he finished 43 of 46 running backs in yards per carry last year without being hit in the backfield. So there's a bad case against him, but I think right now the price is where it's at. You're okay, because usually 11th round picks you can drop after week 2, after week 4, and that may all be what you get out of him. You may only get 6 great weeks out of him before Tootin comes in there and really eats into the pass catching role, or Bigsby starts vulturing touchdowns. But this price, though, do it.
Yeah, like I'm looking at Bashal Tootin, 5'9", 209. He's got the perfect size to be lead back too, which is kind of crazy.
And then finally with this team, we've got tight end Evan Ingram. He moved on, went to Denver. Brenton Strange, 2nd round pick out of Penn State a couple years ago. I guess thoughts on him yourself before I start gushing.
For me, like he's clearly going to be the tight end 1. Guys like Quentin Morris and Johnny Munt aren't scaring me for his to take some snaps away from him. I think it just comes down to Liam Cohen's play calling. Like Cade Otton was good, but he was never great. So obviously they added, Travis Hunter, who's going to be out there on 2 wide receiver sets, and they also brought in Diami Brown. They paid him decent change. It's not like some 1 year. It was I think a 1 year $11 million, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they had to get out from Gabe Davis.
Yeah, big yikes on that one. But for me, I just don't think he's going to be fantasy relevant. I think he might have a couple weeks of where he finishes a top 12. But again, all you need is 4 catches, 50 yards, and you could be the tight end 12.
Yeah, that's the Cade Otton usage does make me a little hesitant with him, but I think these are also different wide receiver cores. You had a lot more wide receivers to choose from there in Tampa versus Jacksonville outside of Brian Thomas and Hunter. Yeah, you got Diami Brown, but those are your 2 elite ones up top. And if Travis Hunter's doing 30% of defensive snaps, we might need some more pass catchers. So Brenton Strange going as tight end 24. I've got him right around my top 10 finish this year, so he is one of my favorite tight ends to take because he costs nothing. You can invest him into it as a streamer, but he might be a streamer that you play multiple weeks in a row because he gets you some consistency. So I'm excited. He's definitely the late round tight end that I am all in on this year.
Yeah, Johnny Munt, just looking at it, age 30, going to his 9th season, hasn't been anything, so I'm not really worried about it. And then Quentin Morris, I'm looking at it, this is actually his 4th season, and he's done nothing. He looks like a blocking tight end. So yeah, I think Brenton Strange is he's going to be safe as the tight end 1.
7.5.
This is the muddiest division ever. I'm going to hit the over. I think this team's actually a lot better than people realize.
If the Jags can split games with Houston and Indy, I think they can hit the over.
Yes.
But I'm going to take the under.
Really? Okay.
I'm going to go 7.5 wins. I think they get that half win. I'm going to go 7.5. Push.
Okay. Right. No, good call. Seems safe.
Give me the Nope, taking the over. I switched. Taking the over, folks. No All pivots here. No pivots.
We are 3 for 3 on overs. This is getting really good here.
That's why I couldn't do it. I'm like, no, there's no way the math. But we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll get there.
And the final team, the 3-4 Tennessee Titans, finished 4th in the division, 27th in points, 30th in points allowed last year. They came in with a 5.5 win projection, drafted Cam Ward 1st overall. They got wide receivers Dyke and Ayumanner out of the draft. Also picked up, what's his name? The Restapro, whatever the hell his name is.
Xavier Restrepo.
Restrepo, there we go. We added Tyler, whatever, man. Ayumanner, really? All of these last names we got to deal with?
They have some awful last names to try to pronounce.
We haven't even brought up the tight end Chigakonkwo, so, come on. They
can
did
say
add
that one at least.
Tyler Lockett, Van Jefferson, also on this wide receiver core. They added in Dan Moore, the left tackle from the Steelers. Huge deal. I will add, allowed 12 sacks in 2024, tied for the most with a massive contract. So I don't know if that's
Yeah.
exactly getting me excited, but they had to address this line.
A lot of Steelers fans were laughing at that signing, saying, well, that is way more money than he ever should deserve. So good for him, I guess, getting that bag.
All right. Let's get the right team up here, Brian. Come on. Yeah, so Tennessee Titans, Cam Ward, he is going to be a streaming quarterback at best. He's going as QB 20. I mean, I'd take Trevor Lawrence over him. We don't get a lot of rushing with him, and this guy likes to nuke it. He looks deep as much as he can to throw it down. So Anthony Richardson light, maybe as far as that's considered. I guess I just don't have too many expectations for him in his rookie year.
Yeah, he's a little bit older. He's 23 coming into the NFL. But his pocket awareness, I don't know if you guys have a chance just to go watch the Miami thing. It is impressive, man. That dude he's smooth in the pocket too. And I loved his tape. I liked watching it a lot just because people would rush and he just do a little sidestep, but he just looks clean in the pocket.
The exact opposite of Will Levis.
Yes, very much so. Dude's throwing his body around for an extra 4 yards. Yeah, no. Cam Ward is very smart. Yeah. No. Cam Ward is very smart, though, in my opinion. So I think he's going to be a really good quarterback. I think he's going to go through ebbs and flows his rookie year. Maybe super flex, as a third quarterback bench, but really I'm not intrigued at him at all. I think this team still has some glooming holes, like the offensive line. I still think needs some adjustments. So he's going to be in there with the long haul with Brian Callahan.
Yeah, opens up against Denver, so not a guy I want to draft because he'll be on the waivers too.
Denver might be a team you talk about for defensive streaming, like in your redrafts.
Right. Yeah. There we go. That's the team. Well, I'm sure they'll be drafted quite a bit anyway.
Yes.
These running backs here, Tony Pollard coming back for his second season with the Titans, going there in the 7th round, depending on where you're taking your running backs. Wide receiver 27 or running back 27. I don't know. It's not a sexy pick, not at all. Especially when you have DeAndre Swift, Caleb Johnson. It's just there's other guys I'd rather take, I guess, in that range.
Yeah, he finishes RB21, and I look at his snap count. He, it's odd because Callahan talks about wanting to have a, like a 1A, 1B backfield. And he said it last year, if I'm not mistaken, right? Wasn't he preaching about that with him and Tajay Spears?
Tajay Spears was high on my list last year because of it.
Can you guess how many times they actually had closer to a split backfield? It's 60-40 even.
Yeah, it wasn't good. Granted, Tajay Spears, he came into the league with some sort of knee issue, like arthritis, same thing as Todd Gurley,
arthritis in your knee. Yeah, not good.
So he didn't play a whole lot last year. I'm back in on him this year. I don't really love where he's going because I'd rather take Jordan Mason, who goes right before him, or J.K. Dobbins, who goes right behind him. But Tajay Spears might be somebody I am targeting mid-season as the season goes on because Tony Pollard, I just don't have that longevity, that confidence in him.
Yeah, so to answer my own question here, he had 3 games that were under the 60-40 split, and everything else in that were all Tony Pollard taking the snaps, and he was taking a very good, healthy amount of snaps. Doesn't matter. I mean, your best ability is availability, and Tony Pollard is the definition of that so far. So I'm kind of in on Tony Pollard if you punted on a running back, Brian Callahan keeps saying, I want to have a split backfield. Well, okay, well, show me that, I guess, until you show me. I'm going to take Tony Pollard because Tony Pollard, he also receiving back too. I mean, Granted, it's not like he was having some crazy amount of games with receptions, but looks like on an average, his average was 3 receptions a game. I'll take that all day long. And that's coming from Will Levis, out of all things.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so guys, he's going around Travion Henderson or Tony Pollard.
I'm actually, when we get to talking about the AFC East, I'm a little bit out on Travion Henderson. I think people are going to be really hurt by drafting him.
I mean, Quinshon Judkins is right there, but that's going to move. Brian Robinson or Tony Pollard.
Oh, I like Brian Robinson, but I'll lean to Tony Pollard just a little bit.
I'm with Tony Pollard, but I think I'd take him over Brian Robinson.
Yeah.
Caleb Johnson, I take him over there. Caleb Johnson might be a guy that takes a few weeks before you're really happy with that pick. So yeah, it's not terrible. It's not terrible at all, folks.
It's
What is
not.
terrible is this wide receiver room. Deciphering anything outside of Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley's going as wide receiver 30, 82 overall. Lockett, Dyke, A. Manor, Jefferson. Treylon Burks last year, the AJ Brown of yesteryear. Yeah, that's not happening. He's gone.
Dude, seeing their old head coach's reaction when they traded him away is still the most priceless thing ever. Like,
Vrabel.
yeah, Vrabel. If you guys want to go watch it, go watch when they traded away AJ Brown and then drafted Treylon Burks, and just go look at Vrabel's reaction in the background. He literally like smacks his own head and just was just like, and just.
Can you believe that this team used to have AJ Brown and Derrick Henry at the same time just a few years ago?
It makes me so happy, but I'm so sorry, Titans fans. It makes me so
Titans.
happy.
Yeah, it's Colts bias here, folks. That's why we're dunking on the Titans
A little bit
right now.
Yeah, no kidding.
But Calvin Ridley, I like his price. I'm more than happy taking him. He was 1,000 yards last year with Will Levis and Rudolph, the bad quarterback. I'm okay messing with it, you know? Like, he's going right around Chris Godwin, Roma Dunze, Jordan Addison, Jerry Jeudy. I'm taking Ridley every time.
Yeah, so you said it was Godwin, Roma Dunze, Jerry Jeudy. Yeah, I think Calvin Ridley is a little. The only thing that scares me, obviously, is the rookie quarterback, and those tend to be you're really riding waves with those guys. But I look back at his targets. All of them are close to 10 targets a game, except for the back end of the year. But again, he still had over 1,000 yards. He had 64 receptions, 10-17, and 4 touchdowns. Maybe we can see some touchdown regression.
So these guys are going back-to-back in wide receiver ADP right now. They both have rookie quarterbacks. Which one are you taking? Chris Olave or Calvin Ridley?
Yeah. Chris Olave in full point PPR, Ridley in half point PPR is my answer.
Folks, he's been talking up Olave a little bit the last couple of weeks, so I knew I'd put him in a pickle there. I think I would take Calvin Ridley, just might be a touch more of a safer pick just with Olave and the concussions. Can't ever predict those. Godwin or Ridley could get a concussion and be knocked out for the rest of his career this year too, but it is baked in there just a little bit. But then you got Kellen Moore, though. Maybe I'm talking myself back into him.
Hey, do you know how old Calvin Ridley is?
31?
30.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was older coming out. He played with Amari Cooper at Alabama, yes. I believe, even though they came out 4 years separately.
Yes.
It's wild. Absolutely wild. And he sat out that year, which just completely ruined his career trajectory.
He stopped gambling.
Yeah, about time. It's about time. Tight end Chigakonkwo, he's going to be a fun streamer. I know I'm going to bring him up at some point as long as Cam Ward comes along. So just a little fun there.
Dude, he was impressive in the fantasy playoffs though last year. I mean, looking at his games, weeks 15 to 17, yeah, double-digit in targets, 8 receptions, 9 receptions, 5 receptions. So could have won you a league last year. I think that he's going as tight end 26. Yeah, I expected to be right around there. I'm not big on him. Whatever reason, rookie quarterbacks just don't mesh with tight ends that well. It just, unless your name's Brock Bowers, it's just not going to happen.
But that's only because he's the best player on their offense,
True.
Hard to beat that. With 5.5 wins as their over/under, where is this team going?
There's a part of me that wants to say over, but it'd be 4-0 for the division, like 6-11. Like that's like I could see it, but like no, I'm gonna go under. I'll be safe. I think they get 5 wins, 5-12.
Yeah, I'm taking the under. They're going to be drafting in the top 7 again, which I think they should. They need to. I think it's great for Cam Ward if they get another
Titan fans would be rooting for that. If they can get another top 10 pick, they'd be very excited to help Cam Ward out. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, unless CJ Stroud gets knocked out and the division actually has a chance to win it, no. Titans tank.
Yes. All right, give me a division order.
Yeah, I was going to say, now we have the
No, you go first. I'm tired of going first. You go first.
Yeah, NFC North, if you missed that episode, go back. We were as far off as you can be. I don't want to go chalk. I want to get a little cute here. I know I hesitated taking their under as far as the win-loss, but I'm going to mix it up here. We're going to go Jacksonville, Houston, Indianapolis, Titans.
I'm going chalk here. I'm going to go Houston, Jacksonville, Indy, then Titans.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. We've been chalk, I think, on like 3 of them. So I'm like, let's mix it up a
But
little bit.
I mean, chalk was great last year. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm right
Yeah,
there.
and I believe I think it's either 2 or 3 teams every year move up by about 5 wins, and then there's every single year there's a team that picks in the top 10 that wins their division. So Jacksonville could be that team that jumps up. If any division could happen, it would be this one.
It's this one. Definitely, you can, if there's a 4-sided coin, you could definitely flick it. I wouldn't be surprised. Titans, I'd be a little surprised if they won it. But the other 3, I guess I wouldn't be too surprised.
Yeah, without serious injury, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy now when you look at it. So Titans have a first overall pick in their quarterback. Houston has a number 2 overall. Jacksonville has a number 1 overall. And then the Colts, Richardson was 3 or 4. He was 4. Look at that. There's some top drafted quarterbacks in this division. And they still are terrible.
Yeah, not fun.
Oh, man. Well, that's going to wrap up our AFC South division matchup roundup recap. You know what? You listen to it. You know what you heard, folks. Next up, we have the NFC South. A couple mock drafts coming your way. Make sure you like, subscribe, help us out a little bit. If you're on the podcast feed, do the same. But if not, we do have a little announcement. We've talked about it once. It's our listener league. It's going to be $100 in prizes, free to enter. All you have to do is put us a screenshot in the comments of you doing the whole 5 stars thing for the podcast, like and subscribing here on YouTube, and we'll throw you in there. You can play with us, and it's $100 to win.
Yeah, free money.
Free money. At @too_much_Brian is me. Brennen, where you at?
Too much bean milk on X.
And you find us at the pod. Too Much Fantasy Football everywhere else. Thanks for listening, and we'll see y'all next time.
Deuces.